Class 6 Chapter Garbage In and Garbage Out. We throw out so much rubbish or garbage every day from our homes, schools, shops and offices. The grains, pulses, biscuits, milk or oil purchased in shops are packed in plastic bags or tins. All these wrapping material go out as garbage. We sometimes buy things that are rarely used and often thrown into the garbage. We generate so much garbage in our day-to-day activities. We often throw groundnut shells on public places, in buses or trains, after eating the nuts. We throw away the ticket when we get off a bus. A child might go on sharpening pencils just for fun. If we make mistakes or spill ink on our notebook, we tear off the sheet and throw it away. And we also throw away many domestic wastes such as broken toys, old clothes, shoes and slippers. What if the garbage is not removed from our homes and surroundings? How do you think this will harm us? When Safai Karamcharis take the garbage from the bins, where does the garbage go and what happens to it? Is it possible for all of this garbage to be changed into something that will not harm us? Can we contribute towards this in any way? We will look for answers to these questions in this chapter. Children from Paheli and Bujo School did a project called Dealing with Garbage. We will learn about some of the things they learned through this project. Dealing with garbage. Safai Karamcharis collect the garbage in trucks and take it to a low-lying open area, called a landfill. There the part of the garbage that can be reused is separated out from the one that cannot be used as such. Thus, the garbage has both useful and non-useful components. The non-useful component is separated out. It is then spread over the landfill and then covered with a layer of soil. Once the landfill is completely full, it is usually converted into a park or a playground. For the next 20 years or so, no building is constructed on it. To deal with some of the useful components of garbage, compost making areas are developed near the landfill. What is compost? Let us learn about it from the following activity. Activity 1. Collect the garbage from your house before it is thrown into the dustbin. Separate it into 2 groups, so that they have. Group 1. Garbage from the kitchen, like fruit and vegetable peels, eggshells, waste food, tea leaves. Include newspapers, dry leaves and paper bags in this group. Group 2. Pieces of cloth, polythene bags, broken glass, aluminium wrappers, nails, old shoes and broken toys. Now divide the contents of each group into 2 separate heaps. Label them as A, B, C and D. Put 1 heap from Group 1 and 1 heap from Group 2 into 2 separate plastic bags. Tie the mouth of these 2 bags tightly. Put all the 4 heaps in separate pits and cover them with soil. You can also use 4 pots to bury these garbage heaps. Remove the soil after 4 days and observe the changes in the garbage. A black color and no foul smell indicates that rotting of garbage is complete. Put the heaps again in the pits and cover with the soil. Observe again after every 2 days and note your observations as suggested. Did the garbage 1. Rot completely and not smell? 2. Rot only partially? 3. Rot almost completely, but still smells bad? 4. Not change at all? Garbage in which heap was seen to rot and which did not? If you make any other observations, do not forget to write all these down in your notebook. Do not remove and burn the garbage that did not rot. If the garbage was found to rot completely and did not smell, mix it in the soil where you sow your favorite plants. This would provide nutrients to the plants. You must have observed from this activity that some things in the garbage rot. They form manure which is used for the plants. The rotting and conversion of some materials into manure is called composting. In some cities and towns, municipalities provide separate dustbins for collecting 2 kinds of garbage. Usually one is colored blue and the other green. The blue bin is for materials that can be used again, such as plastics, metals and glass. Did you notice that these are the materials that do not rot in the garbage heaps? The green bins are for collecting kitchen and other plant or animal wastes. You may have noticed that this type of wastes rot completely when buried in the soil. Do you see why it is necessary for us to separate waste into 2 groups as we did in Activity 1? Have you noticed garbage heaps of dried leaves on the roadside? Most of the time these are burned. Farmers too often burn the husk, dried leaves and part of crop plants in their fields after harvesting. Burning of these produces smoke and gases that are harmful to our health. We should try to stop such practices. These wastes could be converted into useful compost. Vermicomposting. We can be friends of plants by supplying them with compost. We will also be very good friends to ourselves by making compost. Do you know that earthworms are called farmer's friend? Let us find out how a type of earthworm called redworm is used for composting. This method of preparing compost with the help of redworms is called vermicomposting. We can try to make manure by vermicomposting at school. Activity 2. Let us dig a pit, about 30 centimeters deep, or keep a wooden box at a place, which is neither too hot nor too cold. What about a place which does not get direct sunlight? Let us now make a comfortable home for our redworms in the pit or the box. Spread a net or chicken mesh at the bottom of the pit or the box. You can also spread 1 or 2 centimeters thick layer of sand as an alternative. Now, spread some vegetable wastes including peels of fruits over this layer of sand. One can also use green leaves, pieces of dried stalks of plants, husk or pieces of newspaper or cardboard to spread over the layer of sand. However, shiny or plastic-coated paper should not be used for this purpose. Dried animal dung could also be used as a spread over sand or wire mesh. Sprinkle some water to make this layer wet. Take care not to use excessive water. Do not press the layer of waste. Keep this layer loose so that it has sufficient air and moisture. Now, your pit is ready to welcome the redworms. Buy some redworms and put them in your pit. Cover them loosely with a gunny bag or an old sheet of cloth or a layer of grass. Your redworms need food. You can give them vegetable and fruit wastes, coffee and tea remains and weeds from the fields or garden. It might be a good idea to bury this food about 2 to 3 centimeters inside the pit. Do not use wastes that may contain salt, pickles, oil, vinegar, meat and milk preparations as food for your redworms. If you put these things in the pit, disease-causing small organisms start growing in the pit. Redworms do not have teeth. They have a structure called gizzard, which helps them in grinding their food. Powdered eggshells or seashells could be mixed with the wastes. This would help redworms in grinding their food. A redworm can eat food equal to its own weight in a day. Redworms do not survive in very hot or very cold surroundings. They also need moisture around them. If you take good care of your worms, in a month's time their number will double. Observe the contents of the pit carefully after 3 to 4 weeks. Do you now see loose, soil-like material in the pit? Your vermicompost is ready. Fig. 16.6. Put some wastes as food in one corner of the pit. Most of the worms will shift towards this part of the pit, vacating the other part. Remove the compost from the vacated part and dry it in the sun for a few hours. Your vermicompost is ready for use. The part left in the pit has most of the worms in it. You can use these for preparing more compost or share them with another user. Use this excellent vermicompost in your pots, gardens or fields. Is this not like getting the best out of waste? Those of you who have agricultural fields can try vermicomposting in large pits. You can save a lot of money that is spent on buying expensive chemical fertilizers and manure from the market. Think and throw. How much of garbage do you think is thrown out by each house every day? You can make an estimate by using a bucket as a measure. Use a 5 to 10 liter bucket to collect the garbage from your home for a few days. In how many days does the bucket become full? You know the number of members in your family. If you find out the population of your city or town, can you now estimate the number of buckets of garbage that may be generated in a day in your city or town? We are generating mountains of garbage every day, isn't it? Let us read a story about a village where there is less garbage and more wisdom. There is a boy who is very fond of making paper planes. His mother is very annoyed when he tears off sheets from new notebooks to make aeroplanes, but Nanu does not care. Once Nanu went to his aunt's village, along with his mother. He was amazed at the variety of things his cousin Shyam had made. Files from old charts, greeting cards decorated with flowers made from pencil shavings, mats from old clothes, baskets from used old polythene bags were some of the items Nanu liked. Shyam had even made a diary from invitation cards. One morning Nanu went looking for his grandmother, Nani. He saw that she was applying a thick paste on a basket. Nanu asked, "Nani, what are you doing? What is this paste?" "This is papier match, a paste made of clay and paper in which I have also mixed some rice husk," replied Nani. "But, why are you putting it on the basket?" asked Nanu. "To make it stronger," said Nani and added, "Would you like to learn this from me?" Nanu was not very keen and ran outside to play. He was only interested in tearing up papers to make planes. In fact, he also started tearing up papers from Shyam's files. Shyam collected all the pieces of paper Nanu had used, wondering what to do about him. He just did not listen to anyone. It was Nanu's birthday in a few days. Shyam planned to invite Nanu's friends. Nanu took out money from his mud pot and went to the market. He bought some paper hats for his friends. He asked the shopkeeper for a polythene bag to keep the hats, who gave him a paper bag instead of polythene. Nanu also bought many other items like biscuits and toffees. He found it difficult to carry all of these things as no shopkeeper was ready to give a polythene bag. Shyam had told him to carry a cloth bag with him and he was sorry he did not listen to him. Somehow, he managed to reach home with all his purchases. Nanu's friends enjoyed the feast on his birthday and played many games. Talk to one such child and find out. What do they do with the rubbish they collect? Where do they take it? Does he go to school? What about his friends? If they do not go to school, find out the possible reasons. Have you ever helped at home to sell old newspapers, glass and metal things, plastic bags and your old notebooks to a garbage dealer? Talk to him and find out what he does with all the garbage. Would you like to make paper from old and discarded paper like Shyam? Let us learn to do this. Recycling of paper. You will require pieces of old newspapers, magazines, used envelopes, notebooks, or any other paper. Do not use shiny, plastic-coated paper. You will also need a frame fitted with a wire mesh or a net. You can also use a large-sized sieve in place of a frame. Tear the paper into small pieces. Put them in a tub or a bucket and pour water in it. Let the pieces of paper remain submerged in water for a day. Make a thick paste of paper by pounding it. Now, spread the wet paste on the wire mesh fixed to the frame. Pat it gently to make the thickness of layer of the paste as uniform as possible. Wait till water drains off. We often use plastic bags to store cooked food items. Sometimes these bags may not be suitable for keeping eatables. Consuming food packed in such plastic bags could be harmful to our health. Many a time shopkeepers use plastic bags that have been used earlier for some other purpose. Sometimes bags collected by rag pickers are also used after washing them. Use of such recycled plastic bags to keep food items could be harmful for our health. For storing eatables, we must insist on use of plastic bags that are approved for such a use. All kinds of plastics give out harmful gases upon heating or burning. These gases may cause many health problems, including cancer, in humans. The government has also laid down guidelines for recycling of plastics. You must have noticed that people often fill garbage in plastic bags and then throw it away. When stray animals look for food in these bags, they end up swallowing these. Sometimes, they die due to this. The plastic bags thrown away carelessly on roads and other places get into drains in the sewer system. As a result, drains get choked and the water spills on the roads. During heavy rains, it might even create a flood-like situation. There is a lot of harm that too much use of plastics can do. What can we do to minimize overuse of plastics and deal with garbage? We make a minimum use of plastic bags. We reuse the bags whenever it is possible to do so without any adverse effects. We insist shopkeepers use paper bags. We carry a cloth or a jute bag when we go out for shopping. We do not use plastic bags to store eatables. We do not throw plastic bags here and there, after use. We never burn plastic bags and other plastic items. We do not put garbage in plastic bags and throw it away. We use vermicomposting at home and deal with our kitchen waste usefully. We recycle paper. We use both sides of the paper to write. We use a slate for rough work. We use blank sheets of paper left in our notebooks for rough work. We make our family, friends and others to follow proper practices for disposing different kinds of wastes. Think about some more ways to minimize overuse of plastics and discuss. The most important point to know and think about is that more garbage we generate, more difficult it will be to get rid of it.